Good evening, and welcome to another night of Ts&Zzz. Ts&Zzz is a podcast to help you get better sleep at night. We use long, boring, legal agreements as a way to distract our minds and gently drift off to sleep. I am your host, Scott Elchison, and tonight you'll be listening to Reddit's User Agreement and Privacy Policy. Narrated by Scott Elchison. Now, close your eyes. Inhale. Exhale. And let's begin. Reddit. User Agreement. Effective October 15th, 2020. Last revised September 15th, 2020. Reddit powers hundreds of thousands of distinct online communities. This user agreement and your conduct make that possible. This Reddit user agreement terms applies to your access to and use of the websites, mobile apps, widgets, APIs, emails, and other online products and services, collectively the services, provided by Reddit Inc., Reddit, we, us, or our. Remember, Reddit is for fun and is intended to be a place for your entertainment, but we still need some basic rules. By accessing or using our services, you agree to be bound by these terms. If you do not agree to these terms, you may not access or use our services. Please take a look at Reddit's privacy policy too. It explains how and why we collect, use, and share information about you when you access or use our services. Section 1. Your access to the services. Children under the age of 13 are not allowed to create an account or otherwise use the services. Additionally, you must be over the age required by the laws of your country to create an account or otherwise use the services, or we need to have received verified consent from your parent or legal guardian. In addition, certain of our services or portions of our services require you to be 18 years of age or older. So please read all notices and any additional terms carefully when you access the services. If you are accepting these terms on behalf of another legal entity, including a business or a government entity, you represent that you have the full legal authority to bind such entity to these terms. Section 2. Your use of the services. Reddit grants you a personal, non-transferable, non-exclusive, revocable, limited license to use and access the services solely as permitted by these terms. We reserve all rights not expressly granted to you by these terms, except as permitted through the services or otherwise permitted by us in writing. Your license does not include the right to 1. License, sell, transfer, assign, distribute, host, or otherwise commercially exploit the services or the content. 2. Modify, prepare derivative works of, disassemble, decompile, or reverse engineer any part of the services or content. Or 3. Access the services or content in order to build a similar or competitive website, product, or service, except as permitted under the Reddit API terms of use. We reserve the right to modify, suspend, or discontinue the services in whole or in part at any time with or without notice to you. Any future release, update, or other addition to the functionality of the services will be subject to these terms, which may be updated from time to time. You agree that we will not be liable to you or to any third party for any modification, suspension, or discontinuation of the services or any part thereof. Section 3. Your Reddit account and account security. To use certain features of our services, you may be required to create a Reddit account and provide us with a username, password, and certain other information about yourself as set forth in the privacy policy. You are solely responsible for the information associated with your account and anything that happens related to your account. You must maintain the security of your account and immediately notify Reddit if you discover or suspect that someone has accessed your account without your permission. We recommend that you use a strong password that is used only with your account and enable two-factor authentication. You will not license, sell, or transfer your account without prior written approval. Section 4. Your content. The services may contain information, text, links, graphics, photos, videos, or other materials, content, including content created or submitted on the services by you or through your account. Your content. We take no responsibility for, and we do not expressly or implicitly endorse, support, or guarantee the completeness, truthfulness, accuracy, or reliability of any of your content. By submitting your content to the services, you represent and warrant that you have all the rights, power, and authority necessary to grant the rights to your content contained within these terms. Because you alone are responsible for your content, you may expose yourself to liability if you post or share content without all necessary rights. You retain any ownership rights you have in your content, but you grant Reddit the following license to use that content. When your content is created with or submitted to the services, you grant us a worldwide, royalty-free, perpetual, irrevocable, non-exclusive, transferable, and sub-licensable license to use, copy, modify, adapt, prepare derivative works of, distribute, store, perform, and display your content and any name, username, voice, or likeness provided in connection with your content in all media formats and channels now known or later developed anywhere in the world. This license includes the right for us to make your content available for syndication, broadcast, distribution, or publication by other companies, organizations, or individuals who partner with Reddit. You also agree that we may remove metadata associated with your content, and you irrevocably waive any claims and assertions of moral rights or attribution with respect to your content. Any ideas, suggestions, and feedback about Reddit or our services that you provide to us are entirely voluntary, and you agree that Reddit may use such ideas, suggestions, and feedback without compensation or obligation to you. Although we have no obligation to screen, edit, or monitor your content, we may, in our sole discretions, delete or remove your content at any time for any reason, including for violating these terms, violating our content policy, or if you otherwise create or are likely to create liability for us. Section 5. Third-party content, advertisements, and promotions. The services may contain links to third-party websites, products, or services, which may be posted by advertisers, our affiliates, our partners, or other users, third-party content. Third-party content is not under our control, and we are not responsible for any third party's websites, products, or services. Your use of third-party content is at your own risk, and you should make any investigation you feel necessary before proceeding with any transaction in connection with such third-party content. The services may also contain sponsored third-party content or advertisements. The type, degree, and targeting of advertisements are subject to change, and you acknowledge and agree that we may place advertisements in connection with the display of any content or information on the services, including your content. If you choose to use the services to conduct a promotion, including a contest or sweepstakes promotion, you alone are responsible for conducting the promotion in compliance with all applicable laws and regulations at your own risk. Your promotion must state that the promotion is not sponsored by, endorsed by, or associated with Reddit, and the rules for your promotion must require each entrant or participant to release Reddit from any liability related to the promotion. Section 6. Things you cannot do. When using or accessing Reddit, you must comply with the terms and all applicable laws, rules, and regulations. Please review the content policy and for RPAN, the broadcasting content policy, which are part of these terms and contain Reddit's rules about prohibited content and conduct. In addition to what is prohibited in the content policy, you may not do any of the following. 1. Use the services in any manner that could interfere with, disable, disrupt, overburden, or otherwise impair the services. 2. Gain access to, or attempt to gain access to, another user's account or any non-public portions of the services, including the computer systems or networks connected to or used together with the services. 3. Upload, transmit, or distribute to or through the services any viruses, worms, malicious code, or other software intended to interfere with the services, including its security-related features. 4. use the services to violate applicable law or infringe on any person's or entity's intellectual property rights or any other proprietary rights. 5. Access, search, or collect data from the services by any means, automated or otherwise, except as permitted in these terms or in a separate agreement with Reddit. We conditionally grant permission to crawl the services in accordance with the parameters set forth in our robots.txt file, but scraping the services without Reddit's prior consent is prohibited. 6. Use the services in any manner that we reasonably believe to be an abuse of or fraud on Reddit or any payment systems. We encourage you to report content or conduct that you believe violates these terms or our content policy. We also support the responsible reporting of security vulnerabilities. To report a security issue, please email security@reddit.com. Section 7. Moderators. Moderating a subreddit is an unofficial, voluntary position that may be available to users of the services. We are not responsible for actions taken by the moderators. We reserve the right to revoke or limit a user's ability to moderate at any time and for any reason or no reason, including for a breach of these terms. If you choose to moderate a subreddit, 1. You agree to follow the moderator guidelines for healthy communities. 2. You agree that when you receive reports related to a subreddit you moderate, you will take appropriate action, which may include removing content that violates policy and/or promptly escalating to Reddit for review. 3. You are not, and may not represent that you are, authorized to act on behalf of Reddit. 4. You may not enter into any agreement with a third party on behalf of Reddit or any subreddits that you moderate without our written approval. 5. You may not perform moderation actions in return for any form of compensation, consideration, gift, or favor from third parties. 6. If you have access to non-public information as a result of moderating a subreddit, you will use such information only in connection with your performance as a moderator. And 7. You may create and enforce rules for the subreddits you moderate, provided that such rules do not conflict with the terms, the content policy, or the moderator guidelines for healthy communities. Reddit reserves the right, but has no obligation, to overturn any action or decision of a moderator if Reddit, in its sole discretion, believes that such action or decision is not in the interest of Reddit or the Reddit community. Section 8. Copyright, trademark, the DMCA, and takedowns. Reddit respects the intellectual property of others and requires that users of our services do the same. We have a policy that includes the removal of any infringing material from the services and for the termination, if appropriate circumstances, of users of our services who are repeat infringers. If you believe that anything on our services infringes a copyright or a trademark that you own or control, you may notify Reddit's designated agent by filling out our copyright report form or trademark report form, or by contacting Copyright Agent, Reddit Inc., 1455 Market Street, Suite 1600, San Francisco, California, 94130. Copyright@reddit.com. Also, please note that if you knowingly misrepresent that any activity or material on our service is infringing, you may be liable to Reddit for certain costs and damages. If we remove your content in response to a copyright or trademark notice, we will notify you via Reddit's private messaging system. If you believe your content was wrongfully removed due to a mistake or misidentification in a copyright notice, you can send a counter notification via our copyright counter notice form or to our copyright agent, contact information provided above. Please see 17 U.S.C. 512G3 for the requirements of a proper counter notification. Section 9. Paid services and payment information. There are no fees for the use of any aspect of the services. However, some services, including Reddit Premium and virtual goods, may be available for purchase, paid services. In addition to these terms, by purchasing or using Reddit Premium or our virtual goods, you further agree to the Reddit Premium and Virtual Goods Agreement. Reddit may change the fees or benefits associated with the paid services from time to time with the reasonable advance notice of material changes, provided, however, that no advance notice will be required for temporary promotions, including temporary reductions in the fees associated with the paid services. You may submit your debit card, credit card, or other payment information via our services to purchase the paid services. We use third-party service providers to process your payment information. If you submit your payment information, you agree to pay all costs that you incur, and you give us permission to charge you when payment is due for an amount that includes these costs and any applicable taxes and fees. Section 10. Indemnity. Except to the extent prohibited by law, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold us, our directors, officers, employees, affiliates, agents, contractors, third-party service providers, and licensors, the Reddit entities, harmless from any claim or demand, including costs and attorney fees made by any third party due to or arising out of A. Your use of the services, B. Your violation of these terms, C. Your violation of applicable laws or regulations, or D. Your content. We reserve the right to control the defense of any matter for which you are required to indemnify us, and you agree to cooperate with our defense of these claims. Section 11. Disclaimers. The services are provided as is and as available without warranties of any kind, either express or implied, including, but not limited to, implied warranties of merchantability, title, fitness for a particular purpose, and non-infringement. Reddit entities do not warrant that the services are accurate, complete, reliable, current, or error-free. Reddit does not control, endorse, or take responsibility for any content available on or linked to the services or the actions of any third party or user, including moderators. While Reddit attempts to make your access to and use of our services safe, we do not represent and warrant that our services or servers are free of viruses or other harmful components. Section 12. Limitation of liability. In no event, and under no theory of liability, including contract, tort, negligence, strict liability, warranty, or otherwise, will the Reddit entities be liable to you for any indirect, consequential, exemplary, incidental, special, or punitive damages or lost profits arising from or relating to these terms or the services, including those arising from or relating to content made available on the services that is alleged to be defamatory, offensive, or illegal. Access to and use of the services is at your own discretion and risk, and you will be solely responsible for any damages to your device or computer system or loss of data resulting therefrom. In no event will the aggregate liability of the Reddit entities exceed the greater of $100 or any amount you paid Reddit in the previous 6 months for the services giving rise to the claim. The limitations of the section will apply to any theory of liability, including those based on warranty, contract, statute, tort, including negligence, or otherwise, even if Reddit entities have been advised of the possibility of such damage, and even if any remedy set forth herein is found to have failed its essential purpose. The foregoing limitation of liability will apply to the fullest extent permitted by law in the applicable jurisdiction. Section 13. Governing law and venue. We want you to enjoy Reddit, so if you have an issue or a dispute, you agree to raise it and try to resolve it with us informally. You can contact us with feedback and concerns here. Except for the government entities listed below, any claims arising out of or relating to these terms or the services will be governed by the laws of California, without regard to the conflict of law rules. All disputes related to these terms or the services will be brought solely in a federal or state courts located in San Francisco, California, and you consent to personal jurisdiction in these courts. Government entities. If you are a U.S. city, county, or state government entity, then this Section 13 does not apply to you. If you are a U.S. federal government entity, any claims arising out of or relating to these terms or the services will be governed by the laws of the United States of America without regard to its conflict of law rules. To the extent permitted by federal law, the laws of California, other than its conflict of law rules, will apply in the absence of applicable federal law. All disputes related to these terms or the services will be brought solely in the federal or state courts located in San Francisco, California. Section 14. Changes to these terms. We may make changes to these terms from time to time. If we make changes, we will post the revised terms and update the effective date above. If the changes in our sole discretion are material, we may also notify you by sending an email to the address associated with your account, if you have chosen to provide an email address. or by otherwise providing notice through our services. By continuing to access or use the services on or after the effective date of the revised terms, you agree to be bound by the revised terms. If you do not agree with the revised terms, you must stop accessing and using our services before the change becomes effective. Section 15. Additional terms. Because we offer a variety of services, you may be asked to agree to additional terms before using a specific product or service offered by Reddit. Additional terms. To the extent any additional terms conflict with these terms, the additional terms govern with respect to your use of the corresponding service. If you use Reddit Premium or Virtual Goods, you must also agree to the Reddit Premium and Virtual Goods agreement. If you use the self-service platform for advertising, you must also agree to our Reddit advertising platform terms. If you use our public API, you must also agree to our Reddit API terms of use. If you use Reddit GIFs, you must agree to the Reddit GIFs user agreement. Section 16. Termination. You may terminate these terms at any time and for any reason by deleting your account and discontinuing the use of all services. If you stop using the services without deactivating your account may be deactivated due to prolonged inactivity. We may suspend or terminate your account, moderator status, or ability to access or use the services at any time for any or no reason, including for violating these terms or our content policy. The following sections will survive any termination of the terms or of your account. 4. Your content. 6. Things you cannot do. 10. Indemnity. 11. Disclaimers. 12. Limitations of liability. 13. Governing law and venue. 16. Termination. And 17. Miscellaneous. Section 17. Miscellaneous. These terms constitute the entire agreement between you and us regarding your access to and use of the services. Our failure to exercise or enforce any right or provision of these terms will not operate as a waiver of such right or provision. If any provision of these terms is, for any reason, held to be illegal, invalid, or unenforceable, the rest of the terms will remain in effect. You may not assign or transfer any of your rights or obligations under these terms without our consent. We may freely assign any of our rights and obligations under these terms. Contact information. Reddit Inc., 1455-1455 Market Street, Suite 1600, San Francisco, California, 94103, United States. Authorized to receive service in Germany on behalf of Reddit Inc. for administrative and judicial proceedings within the meanings of Section 5.1 of the Network Enforcement Act. Taylor Wessing, Part G, MBB. Ad break. This episode is sponsored by Sunsoil. Sunsoil brings you full-spectrum, whole-plant CBD oil that is organically farmed, naturally extracted, lab-tested, and accessibly priced. I tested out the full-spectrum CBD oil soft gels. Each soft gel contains 20 milligrams of CBD, and the entire bottle contains 30 capsules. For me, I found the soft gels easy to use and were great for my lower back pain. Not only was Sunsoil good for my lower back pain, but they also give back. Sunsoil donates a percentage of sales via the 1% for the planet to environmental and community causes. Sunsoil makes CBD oil with simple, organic ingredients. Get 30% off your first order by going to sunsoil.com/bettersleep. That's sunsoil.com/bettersleep for 30% off your first order. sunsoil.com/bettersleep. End ad break. Reddit privacy policy. Effective October 15th, 2020. Last revised September 15th, 2020. We want you to understand how and why Reddit Inc., Reddit, we or us, collects, uses, and shares information about you when you use our sites, mobile apps, widgets, and other online products and services, collectively the services, or when you otherwise interact with us or receive a communication from us. This privacy policy applies to all of our services, including Reddit GIFs, which maintains a separate privacy notice that incorporates this privacy policy by reference. What we collect and how it is used and shared. Information you provide to us. We collect information you provide to us directly when you use our services. This includes 1. Account information. If you create a Reddit account, we may require you to provide a username and password. Your username is public, and it does not have to be related to your real name. You may also provide other account information, like an email address, bio, or profile picture. We also store your user account preferences and settings. 2. Content you submit. We collect the content you submit to the services. This includes your posts and comments, including saved drafts, videos you broadcast via RPAN, your messages with other users, e.g. private messages, chats, and mod mail, and your reports and other communications with moderators and with us. Your content may include text, links, images, GIFs, and videos. 3. Actions you take. We collect information about the actions you take when using the services. This includes your interactions with content like voting, saving, hiding, and reporting. It also includes your interactions with other users, such as following, friending, and blocking. We collect your interactions with communities, like your subscriptions or moderator status. 4. Transactional information. If you purchase products or services from us, e.g. Reddit Premium or Reddit Coins, we will collect certain information from you, including your name, address, email address, and information about the product or service you are purchasing. Reddit uses industry-standard payment processing services, for example, Stripe, to handle payment information. 5. Other information. You may choose to provide other information directly to us. For example, we may collect information when you fill out a form, participate in a Reddit-sponsored activities or promotions, apply for a job, request customer support, or otherwise communicate with us. Information we collect automatically. When you access or use our services, we may also automatically collect information about you. This includes 1. Log and usage data. We may log information when you access and use the services. This may include your IP address, user agent string, operating system, referral URLs, device information, e.g. device IDs, device settings, pages visited, link clicks, the requested URL, and search terms. Except for the IP address used to create your account, Reddit will delete any IP addresses collected after 100 days. 2. Information collected from the cookies and similar technologies. We may receive information from cookies, which are pieces of data your browser stores and sends back to us when making requests, and similar technologies. We use this information to improve your experience, understand user activity, personalize content and advertisements, and improve the quality of our services. For example, we store and retrieve information about your preferred language and other settings. See our cookie notice for more information about how Reddit uses cookies. For more information on how you can disable cookies, please see your choices below. 3. Location information. We may receive and process information about your location. For example, with your consent, we may collect information about the specific location of your mobile device, for example by using GPS or Bluetooth. We may also receive location information from you when you choose to share such information on our services, including by associating your content with a location. We may derive your approximate location from other information about you, including your IP address. Information collected from other sources. We may receive information about you from other sources, including from other users and third parties, and combine that information with the other information we have about you. For example, we may receive demographic or interest information about you from third parties, including advertisers, such as the fact that an advertiser is interested in showing you an ad, and combine it with our own data using a common account identifier, such as a hash of an email address or a mobile device ID. You can control how we use this information to personalize the services for you as described in your choices, controlling advertising and analytics below. 1. Linked services. If you authorize or link a third-party service, e.g. an unofficial mobile app client, to access your Reddit account, Reddit receives information about your use of that service when it uses that authorization. Linking services may also cause the other service to send us information about your account with that service. For example, if you sign into Reddit with a third-party identity provider, that provider may share an email address with us. To learn how information is shared between linked services, see how information about you is shared below. 2. Information collected from integrations. We may also receive information about you, including log and usage data and cookie information from third-party sites that integrate our services, including our embeds and advertising technology. For example, when you visit a site that uses Reddit embeds, we may receive information about the web page you visited. Similarly, if an advertiser incorporates Reddit's ad technology, Reddit may receive limited information about your activity on the advertiser's site or app, such as whether you bought something from the advertiser. You can control how we use this information to personalize the services for you as described in your choices, controlling advertising and analytics below. Information collected by third parties. 1. Embedded content. Reddit displays some linked content in line on Reddit services via embeds. For example, Reddit posts that a link to YouTube or Twitter may load the linked video or tweet within Reddit directly from those services to your device so you don't have to leave Reddit to see it. In general, Reddit does not control how third-party services collect data when they serve you their content directly via their embeds. As a result, embedded content is not covered by this privacy policy, but by the policies of the service from which the content is embedded. 2. Programmatic ads. We partner with third-party programmatic ad exchanges to show advertisements relevant to your interests. In providing those ads, those third parties collect information, including log and usage data and information from cookies as described above. These third parties do not receive any information from your Reddit account. 3. Audience measurement. We partner with audience measurement companies, including Quantcast and Nielsen, to learn demographic information about the population that uses Reddit. To provide this demographic information, these companies collect cookie information to recognize your device. Information collected from advertisers and potential advertisers. If you use Reddit ads, Reddit's self-serve ads platform at ads.reddit.com, we collect some additional information. To sign up for Reddit ads, you must provide your name, email address, and information about your company. If you purchase advertising services, you will need to provide transactional information as described above, and we may also require additional documentation to verify your identity. When using Reddit ads, we may record a session replay of your visit for customer service, troubleshooting, and usability research purposes. We use information about you to 1. Provide, maintain, and improve the services. 2. Research and develop new services. 3. Help protect the safety of Reddit and our users, which includes blocking suspected spammers, addressing abuse, and enforcing the Reddit user agreement and our other policies. 4. Send you technical notices, updates, security alerts, invoices, and other support and administrative messages. 5. Provide customer service. 6. Communicate with you about products, services, offers and promotions, and events, and provide other news and information we think will be of interest to you. For information about how to opt out of these communications, see your choices below. 7. Monitor and analyze trends, usage, and activities in connection with our services. 8. Measure the effectiveness of ads shown in our services. And 9. Personalize the services and provide and optimize advertisements, content, and features that match user profiles or interests. Much of the information on the services is public and accessible to everyone, even without an account. By using the services, you are directing us to share this information publicly and freely. When you submit content, including a post, comment, chat message, or RPAN broadcast to a public part of the service, any visitor to and users of our services will be able to see that content, the username associated with that content, and the date and time you originally submitted the content. Reddit allows other sites to embed public Reddit content via our embed tools. Reddit also allows third parties to access public Reddit content via the Reddit API and other similar technologies. Although some parts of the services may be private or quarantined, they may become public, e.g., at the moderator's option in the case of private communities, and you should take that into consideration before posting to the services. Your Reddit account has a profile page that is public. Your profile contains information about your activities on the services, such as your username, prior posts and comments, karma, awards received, trophies, moderator status, Reddit premium status, and how long you've been a member of the services. You can also choose for your profile to include the content you upvote and downvote. We offer social sharing features that let you share content or actions that you take on our services with other media. Your use of these features enables the sharing of certain information with your friends or the public, depending on the settings you establish with the third party that provides the social sharing features. For more information about the purpose and the scope of data collection and processing in connection with social sharing features, please visit the privacy policies of the third parties that provide these social sharing features, e.g. Tumblr, Facebook, and Twitter. Reddit only shares non-public information about you in the following ways. We do not sell this information. 1. With your consent, we may share information about you with your consent or at your direction. 2. With linked services. If you link your Reddit account to a third-party service, Reddit will share the information you authorize with the third-party service. You can control this sharing as described in your choices below. 3. With our service providers. We may share information with vendors, consultants, and other service providers who need access to such information to carry out work for us. Their use of personal data will be subject to appropriate confidentiality and security measures. A few examples. 1. Payment processors who process transactions on our behalf. 2. Cloud providers who host our data and services. 3. Third-party ad measurement providers who help us and our advertisers measure the performance of ads shown on our services. 4. To comply with the law. We may share information in response to a request for information if we believe disclosure is in accordance with or required by any applicable law, regulation, legal process, or governmental request, including, but not limited to, meeting national security or law enforcement requirements. To the extent the law allows it, we will attempt to provide you with prior notice before disclosing your information in response to such a request. Our transparency reports has additional information about how we respond to government requests. 5. In an emergency. We may share information if we believe it's necessary to prevent imminent and serious bodily harm to a person. 6. To enforce our policies and rights. We may share information if we believe your actions are inconsistent with our user agreement, rules, or other Reddit policies, or to protect the rights, property, and safety of ourselves and others. 6. With our affiliates. We may share information between and among Reddit and any of our parent, affiliate, subsidiaries, and other companies under common control and ownership. 7. Aggregate or de-identified information. We may share information about you that has been aggregated or anonymized such that it cannot reasonably be used to identify you. For example, we may show the total number of times a post has been upvoted without identifying who the visitors were, or we may tell an advertiser how many people saw their ad. How we protect your information. We take measures to help protect information about you from loss, theft, misuse, and unauthorized access, disclosure, alteration, and destruction. For example, we use HTTPS while information is being transmitted. We also enforce technical and administrative access controls to limit which of our employees have access to non-public personal information. You can help maintain the security of your account by configuring two-factor authentication. We store the information we collect for as long as it's necessary for the purposes for which we originally collected it. We may retain certain information for legitimate business purposes or as required by law. Your choices. You have choices about how to protect and limit the collection, use, and sharing of information about you when you use the services. Some of these choices are available to everyone who uses Reddit, while others only apply if you have a Reddit account. 1. Accessing and changing your information. You can access and change certain information through the services. See our Help Center page for more information. You can also request a copy of the personal information Reddit maintains about you by following the procedures described here. Deleting your account. You may delete your account information at any time from the User Preferences page. You can also submit a request to delete the personal information Reddit maintains about you by following the process described in the Your Rights-Data Subject to Consumer Information Requests sections below. When you delete your account, your profile is no longer visible to other users and is disassociated from content you posted under that account. Please note, however, that the posts, comments, and messages you submitted prior to deleting your account will still be visible to others unless you first delete that specific content. We may also retain certain information about you as required by law or for legitimate business purposes after you delete your account. Controlling linked services access to your account. You can review the services you have permitted to access your account and revoke access to individual services by visiting your Accounts Apps page for third-party app authorizations and the Connected Accounts section of your account settings for Google Sign-In with Apple, and connected Twitter accounts. Controlling the use of cookies. Most web browsers are set to accept cookies by default. If you prefer, you can usually choose to set your browser to remove or reject first and third-party cookies. Please note that if you choose to remove or reject cookies, this could affect the availability and functionality of our services. For more information on controlling how cookies and similar technologies are used on Reddit, see our cookie notice. Controlling advertising and analytics. Some analytics providers we partner with may provide specific opt-out mechanisms, and we may provide, as needed and as available, additional tools and third-party services that allow you to better understand cookies and how you can opt out. For example, you may manage the use and collection of certain information by Google Analytics via Google Analytics opt-out browser add-on. You can opt out of the audience measurement services provided by Nielsen and Quantcast. We also offer you choices about receiving personalized advertisements. You can adjust how we personalize advertisements for you by visiting your ads preference in your account setting, or here if you use Reddit in a web browser. You can also use device-level settings to control personalized advertisements on Android, reset advertising ID, and opt out of ads personalization, and iOS, limited ad tracking devices. You may also generally opt out of receiving personalized advertisements from certain third-party advertisers and ad networks. To learn more about these advertisements or to opt out, please visit the sites of the Digital Advertising Alliance, or if you're a user in the European Economic Area, your online choices. Do not track. Most modern web browsers give you the option to send a do not track signal to sites you visit, indicating that you do not wish to be tracked. However, there is no accepted standard for how a site should respond to the signal, and we do not take any action in response to the signal. Instead, in addition to the publicly available third-party tools, we offer you the choices described in this policy to manage the collection and use of information about you. Controlling promotional communications. You may opt out of receiving some or all categories of promotional communications from us by following the instruction in those communications or by updating your email options in account preferences here. If you opt out of promotional communications, we may still need to send you non-promotional communications such as information about your account or the use of our services. Controlling mobile notifications. With your consent, we may send promotional and non-promotional push notifications or alerts to your mobile device. You can deactivate these messages at any time by changing the notification settings on your mobile device. Controlling location information. You can control how we use location information inferred from your IP address for content recommendation purposes via the safety and privacy settings on your account. If you initially consent to our collection of more precise location information from your device, you can subsequently stop the collection of this information at any time by changing the preferences on your mobile device. Your rights. Data subject and consumer information requests. Requests for a copy of the information Reddit has about your account, including EU General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, Data Subject Access Requests, and California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, consumer information requests can be submitted following the process described here. All other data subject to consumer requests under data protection laws should be sent via email to redditdatarequests@reddit.com from the email address that you have verified with your Reddit account. Before we process a request from you about your personal information, we need to verify the request via your access to your Reddit account or to a verified email address associated with your Reddit account. You may also designate an authorized agent to exercise these rights on your behalf. Reddit does not discriminate against users for exercising their rights under data protection laws to make requests regarding their personal information. International data transfers. We are based in the United States, and we process and store information on servers located in the United States. We may store information on servers and equipment in other countries, depending on a variety of factors, including the locations of our users and our service providers. By accessing or using the service, or otherwise providing information to us, you consent to the processing, transfer, and storage of information in and to the U.S. and other countries, where you may not have the same rights as you do under local law. In connection with Reddit's processing of personal data received from the European Union, Switzerland, and the United Kingdom, we adhere to the EU, US, and the Swiss-US Privacy Shield program, Privacy Shield, and comply with its frameworks and principles. Although the EU-US Privacy Shield program may no longer be a valid basis for certain international data transfers, Reddit continues to comply with the Privacy Shield framework and principles with respect to the personal data received from the EU in addition to all other applicable laws. Please direct any inquiries or complaints regarding our compliance with the Privacy Shield principles to the point of contact listed in the Contact Us section below. If we do not resolve your complaint, you may submit your complaint free of charge to JAMS. Under certain conditions specified by the Privacy Shield principles, you may also be able to invoke binding arbitration to resolve your complaint. We are subject to the investigatory and enforcement powers of the Federal Trade Commission. In certain circumstances, we may be liable for the transfer of personal data from the EU, Switzerland, or the UK to a third party outside of those countries. For more information about the Privacy Shield principles and to view our certification, please visit U.S. Department of Commerce Privacy Shield site. Additional information for EEA users. Users in the European Economic Area have the right to request access to, rectification of, or erasure of their personal data, to data portability in certain circumstances, to request restriction of processing, to object to processing, and to withdraw consent from processing where they have previously provided consent. These rights can be exercised using the information provided under the Your Choices above or as described in the Your Rights Data Subject and Consumer Information Request section above. EEA users also have the right to lodge a complaint with their local supervisory authority. As required by applicable law, we collect and process information about individuals in the EEA only when we have a legal basis for doing so. Our legal basis depend on the services you use and how you use them. We process your information on the following legal basis. 1. You have consented for us to do so for a specific purpose. 2. We need to process the information to provide you the services, including to operate the services, provide customer support and personalized features, and to protect the safety and security of the services. 3. It satisfies a legitimate interest, which is not overridden by our data protection interests, such as preventing fraud, ensuring network and information security, enforcing our rules and policies, protecting our legal rights and interests, research and development, personalizing the services, and marketing and promoting the services. Or 4, we need to process your information to comply with our legal obligations. Additional information for California users. The California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, requires us to provide California residents with some additional information about the categories of personal information we collect and share, where we get that personal information, and how and why we use it. In the last 12 months, we collected the following categories of personal information from California residents depending on the services used. 1. Identifiers, like your Reddit username, email address, IP address, and cookie information. 2. Commercial information, including information about transactions you undertake with us. 3. Internet or electronic network activity information, such as information about your activity on our services and limited information about your activity on the services of advertisers who use our advertising technology. 4. Geolocation information based on your IP address or more specific location information if you authorize your device to provide it to us. 5. Audio-visual information and pictures, audio, or video content submitted to Reddit. 6. Personal or employment-related information or demographic information, but only if you explicitly provide it to us, such as by applying for a job or filling out a survey. 7. Inferences we make based on other collected data for purposes such as recommending content, advertising, and analytics. You can find more information about A, what we collect and the sources of that information, B, the business and commercial purposes for collecting that information, and C, the categories of third parties with whom we share that information in the What We Collect and How It Is Used and Shared section above. If you're a California resident, you have additional rights under CCPA, including the right to request access to or deletion of your personal information and information about our data practices, as well as the right not to be discriminated against for exercising your privacy rights. These rights can be exercised as described in the Data Subject and Consumer Information Request section above. Children. Children under the age of 13 are not allowed to create an account or otherwise use the services. Additionally, if you are in the EEA, you must be over the age required by the laws of your country to create an account or otherwise use the services, or we need to have obtained verified consent from your parent or legal guardian. Changes to this policy. We may change this privacy policy from time to time. If we do, we will let you know by revising the date at the top of the policy. If the changes, in our sole discretion, are material, we may also notify you by sending an email to the address associated with your account, if you have chosen to provide an email address, or by otherwise providing notice through our services. We encourage you to review the privacy policy whenever you access or use our services or otherwise interact with us to stay informed about our information practices and the ways you can help protect your privacy. By continuing to use our services after privacy policy changes go into effect, you agree to be bound by the revised policy. Contact us. To send a GDPR data subject request or a CCPA consumer request, follow the steps in the Your Rights Data Subject and Consumer Information Request section above. If you have other questions about this privacy policy, please contact us at legal@reddit.com or at Reddit Inc. 548 Market Street, number 16093, San Francisco, California, 94104. We have also appointed a representative in the EU to receive inquiries about our data practices. Reddit Ireland Limited, attention Reddit EU data inquiries, 70 Sir John Rogerson's Quay, Dublin 2, Ireland. Yuri representative at reddit.com. And Reddit's user agreement and privacy policy. Enjoy your night.